Picture this, a federal courtroom in Los Angeles, the air thick with anticipation, every seat filled with reporters scribbling furiously, lawyers adjusting their ties, and a jury trying to stay composed under the weight of a high-profile case. At the center of it all is Sean "Diddy" Combs, the music mogul fighting for his reputation, his freedom, and his legacy. But on this sweltering July morning in 2025, the spotlight isn't on Diddy. It's on a man who wasn't supposed to be here, a man whose presence alone could tilt the scales of justice, LeBron James. Yes, the LeBron James, basketball legend, cultural icon, a name synonymous with greatness. He's not a witness, not a lawyer, not even officially tied to the case. So why is he sitting in the public gallery, dressed in a tailored navy suit, his eyes scanning the room with a calm that feels almost too deliberate? In a split second, a juror's glance toward him sets off a chain reaction that will unravel the trial, ignite a media firestorm, and force the world to ask, did LeBron James, the king himself, try to tamper with a federal jury? This isn't just a courtroom drama, it's a clash between fame and justice, and by the time it's over, nothing will look the same. The trial against Diddy was already a spectacle. For weeks, the courthouse on Spring Street had been a magnet for paparazzi, protesters, and fans waving signs that read, "Free Diddy" or "Justice for All." The charges, tied to allegations of racketeering and influence peddling, had drawn global attention, with every major outlet from TMZ to CNN camped outside. Judge Harold Halverson, a veteran known for his no-nonsense demeanor, kept a tight grip on proceedings. The jury, a mix of 12 Angelinos from teachers to accountants, seemed focused, if a bit overwhelmed. The prosecution was building a case around Diddy's alleged misuse of his empire to manipulate business deals, while the defense painted him as a misunderstood visionary targeted by overzealous authorities. It was a classic high-stakes legal battle until LeBron walked in. It was day 17 of the trial, a Tuesday, and the gallery was packed. Reporters whispered about LeBron's presence from the moment he arrived, his 6'9" frame impossible to miss even in a sea of suits. He sat 3 rows back, next to his longtime friend and business associate, Maverick Carter, both of them stone-faced, avoiding the cameras that weren't allowed inside but still felt omnipresent. Was he here to support Diddy, a friend from the music and entertainment world? Was he just curious about a case dominating headlines? Or was there something more? The room buzzed with speculation, but no one could have predicted what happened next. During a tense moment in the prosecution's questioning of a financial witness, Juror number 4, a 42-year-old school administrator named Carla Nguyen, shifted in her seat. Her eyes flicked toward the gallery, locking onto LeBron for a fleeting second. It wasn't just a glance, it was a moment. Every seasoned reporter in the room caught it. So did the lead prosecutor, AUSA Catherine Lopez, who paused mid-sentence, her pen frozen in the air. The stenographer's fingers hesitated over the keys. Even Judge Halverson, peering over his wire-rimmed glasses, seemed to notice the shift in the room's gravity. The whisper came from somewhere in the gallery, soft but sharp enough to cut through the silence. He's coaching her. No one could pinpoint who said it, maybe a reporter, maybe an onlooker, but the words landed like a match in dry grass. The courtroom, already taut, erupted into murmurs. Lopez glanced at her co-counsel, a quick nod passing between them. Diddy's lead attorney, Benjamin Rothstein, stiffened, his eyes darting to LeBron, who remained impassive, staring straight ahead. Judge Halverson's gavel cracked once, silencing the room. "Order," he said, his voice low but laced with warning. He leaned forward, glasses glinting under the fluorescent lights. "We will take a 15-minute recess." The jurors were escorted out, their faces a mix of confusion and unease. LeBron didn't move, neither did Maverick, but the air had changed. Something unspoken, something dangerous was now in play. As the recess stretched into 30 minutes, the hallway outside buzzed with frenetic energy. Reporters huddled, texting editors with half-formed scoops. LeBron James implicated in jury issue? Diddy trial takes bizarre turn. Inside, the legal teams were in chaos. Rothstein's team huddled in a corner, whispering fiercely, while Lopez and her prosecutors pored over notes, their faces grim. Court security officers, usually stoic, exchanged glances as they repositioned themselves near the gallery. Then came the first leak, anonymous but explosive. Surveillance footage from 2 days earlier allegedly showed LeBron in a hallway outside the courtroom, speaking to juror number 6, a 29-year-old graphic designer named Maya Ellison, during a lunch break. The footage, grainy but unmistakable, captured them standing close, LeBron gesturing with his hands, Maya nodding intently. No audio, just 38 seconds of body language that screamed intention. Was it a casual chat, a coincidence, or something far worse? The leak spread faster than the court could contain it, and by the time the recess ended, the trial was no longer about Diddy's charges. It was about LeBron James. Back in the courtroom, the tension was palpable. The jurors returned, their faces tighter now, avoiding eye contact with the gallery. Judge Halverson's expression was unreadable, but his knuckles whitened as he gripped his pen. "Counsel," he said, addressing both sides, "we have a serious matter to address." His words were measured, but the implication was clear. Something had gone wrong. Lopez rose, her voice steady but urgent. "Your Honor, we have reason to believe there may have been improper communication with a juror. We request an immediate inquiry." Rothstein shot to his feet, objecting. "This is speculation, Your Honor, a distraction from a weak case." But the judge wasn't having it. "Sit down, Mr. Rothstein," he said, his tone like steel. "This court will not tolerate even the appearance of impropriety. If any of you have had contact with anyone outside this courtroom regarding this case, you are obligated to report it. Now." No one moved, not at first. Then Maya Ellison, juror number 6, shifted in her seat, her hands twisting in her lap. She didn't stand, didn't speak, but her discomfort was loud enough. The gallery held its breath. LeBron, still seated, kept his eyes fixed on the judge, his face a mask of calm. But the room felt like it was teetering on a knife's edge. Then came the second bombshell, delivered in a sealed envelope to the judge's bench. It was a handwritten note, anonymous, its contents so incendiary that Halverson read it twice before speaking. "This court has received evidence suggesting external influence on this jury," he said, his voice dropping an octave. The note alleges that a prominent individual instructed jurors to lean toward a mistrial and claimed that a guilty verdict would destroy Diddy and the culture. Gasps rippled through the room. Diddy's face, usually composed, twitched slightly. LeBron didn't flinch, but his attorney, a high-powered litigator named Vanessa Torres, was already on her feet, requesting a sidebar. The sidebar lasted 20 minutes, the longest in the trial's history. Reporters strained to catch snippets, but the judge's chambers were soundproofed. When court resumed, Halverson's face was a storm cloud. "We are suspending proceedings for the day," he announced. "Jurors, you are under strict instructions not to discuss this case with anyone. Court security will review all relevant footage, and we will reconvene tomorrow." As the jurors filed out, Maya Ellison's eyes were red-rimmed, her steps unsteady. LeBron stood, buttoned his jacket, and walked out with Maverick, trailed by a swarm of reporters shouting questions he didn't answer. Outside, the media frenzy exploded. CNN ran a breaking news ticker. LeBron James linked to jury tampering allegations in Diddy trial. Twitter, still called Twitter by diehards, lit up with hashtags, Jur LeBrongate, Jur Diddy trial, Jur justice or fame. Some called it a setup, others a scandal. But one thing was clear. The trial had just entered uncharted territory. The next morning, the courthouse was a fortress. Federal agents stood at every entrance, checking IDs with military precision. Inside, the mood was grim. The jury box felt like a pressure cooker, with jurors avoiding eye contact not just with LeBron, who was back in the gallery, now flanked by 2 attorneys, but with each other. The day's proceedings began with a bombshell from Lopez. "Your Honor, we have additional evidence of improper contact. A court security officer has reported seeing Mr. James in the courthouse cafeteria 2 days ago, seated with juror number 6, Maya Ellison, in what appeared to be a private conversation." The gallery erupted, forcing Halverson to slam his gavel twice. "Silence!" he barked. Rothstein objected, calling the report circumstantial hearsay, but the judge waved him off. "We're beyond speculation, counsel," Halverson said. "This court will not be a circus." The security officer, a 15-year veteran named Marcus Tate, was called to testify in chambers. His account was chillingly specific. LeBron and Maya were at a corner table. No security detail, no witnesses, just the 2 of them. LeBron was sipping a coffee, his hat pulled low, while Maya leaned forward, nodding as he spoke. Tate didn't interrupt. He had no authority to. But the image stuck with him. "It didn't look casual," he said under oath. "It looked intense." Back in open court, Lopez pressed further, revealing that 3 jurors, numbers 2, 4, and 6, were now under scrutiny for potential outside communication. Juror number 2, a 35-year-old mechanic named Javier Ruiz, had reportedly been seen entering a parking garage near LeBron's SUV after court hours. No footage, just a witness, a janitor, who claimed the man matched Ruiz's description. The leaks were piling up, each one tighter around LeBron's neck. Then came the digital evidence, the kind that doesn't lie. Lopez presented phone records from juror number 2's cell, showing dozens of calls to a 310 area code number. Short, under 30 seconds, always after court adjourned. The number was traced to a burner phone purchased in cash at a Beverly Hills electronics store 4 days into the trial. The buyer? LeBron's driver, a man named Derek Holmes, identified through store security footage. The courtroom was silent, the kind of silence that feels like a scream. Rothstein tried to deflect, arguing the calls could be unrelated, but Lopez was relentless. "Your Honor, this is a pattern," she said. "A juror, a burner phone, a celebrity with unparalleled influence. We're not talking coincidence anymore." Halverson didn't respond immediately. He removed his glasses, rubbed his temples, and called for another recess. The jurors were escorted out, but Maya Ellison was shaking visibly now, her hands clutching her purse like a lifeline. Behind closed doors, the judge's chambers became a war room. Halverson, Lopez, Rothstein, and LeBron's attorney, Vanessa Torres, pored over the evidence. The anonymous note was now under forensic analysis, its handwriting compared to court documents. The burner phone records were cross-referenced with LeBron's known associates. And then there was Maya Ellison, who was privately questioned in a separate room, under oath. Her voice trembling, she admitted to speaking with a public figure during the trial. She wouldn't name LeBron directly, but her tears told the story. "I felt pressured," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Not to vote a certain way, but to consider the bigger picture, the culture, the community." The judge's face darkened. "Did this individual suggest a specific outcome?" he asked. Maya paused, then nodded. "A mistrial," she whispered. "He said it would be better for everyone." The courtroom reconvened that afternoon, but the air was different, thicker, heavier, like the moment before a storm breaks. Halverson addressed the room with a voice that could cut glass. "This court is dangerously close to collapsing under the weight of external manipulation," he said. "If even one juror has been influenced, the integrity of this trial is compromised." He turned to the jury box, his eyes boring into each juror. "You are the backbone of justice. If you cannot uphold that duty, this system fails." Juror number 2, Javier Ruiz, was sweating now, his hands fidgeting. Juror number 4, Carlin Nguyen, had requested to be excused, citing stress and intimidation. The judge denied her request, but ordered a full forensic review of all jurors' phone records, a move so rare it sent shockwaves through the legal community. LeBron, still in the gallery, was now the center of every whisper, every glance, every headline. The next day brought the moment everyone had been waiting for and dreading. The prosecution filed an emergency motion to subpoena LeBron James, not as a character witness for Diddy, but as a potential contaminator of the jury. The courtroom was packed beyond capacity, with extra security brought in to manage the crowd. LeBron walked in at 9:03 a.m., his face unreadable, his suit a crisp charcoal gray. No cameras were allowed, no phones, just the raw weight of the moment. He took the stand, raised his right hand, and swore to tell the truth. The clerk's voice was steady. "Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?" "I do," LeBron said, his voice low but clear. Lopez didn't waste time. "Mr. James, you've attended multiple days of this trial, correct?" "Yes," he replied. "And on at least 2 occasions, you were seen speaking to individuals identified as jurors. Is that correct?" LeBron paused, choosing his words. "I greeted people outside the building. It wasn't intentional contact." Lopez stepped closer. "So you deny telling any juror that a guilty verdict would be bad for Diddy or the culture?" LeBron's jaw tightened. "I never said that. The prosecution wasn't done." They presented the hallway footage. 38 seconds of LeBron and Maya Ellison, their body language screaming intent. "What were you saying here, Mr. James?" Lopez asked, pointing to a monitor where the grainy image was paused. LeBron glanced at it, then back at her. "I don't remember," he said. "You don't remember?" Lopez pressed. "I talked to a lot of people," he replied, his voice steady but his eyes shifting. "Not many during a federal trial on the steps of a courthouse with a juror," Lopez shot back. The room was locked in a trance. Then came the second blow, the burner phone records linked to Derek Holmes, LeBron's driver. Lopez held up a printout. "Dozens of calls, Mr. James, to juror number 2, Javier Ruiz, all after court hours, all from a phone purchased by your associate. Explain that." LeBron's attorney, Vanessa Torres, objected, calling the evidence circumstantial, but Halverson overruled her. "We're not at judgment yet," he said. "We're at exposure." The final question was a dagger. "Mr. James," Lopez said, her voice like a blade, "did you, directly or indirectly, suggest to any juror that their decision would affect your world outside this court?" The pause was suffocating. LeBron's hands were clasped tightly, his knuckles pale. "No," he said finally, but the word felt hollow, like it was fighting to be believed. Halverson leaned forward, his eyes burning. "This court will not be hijacked by cultural icons, no matter how beloved. If influence was used to steer this jury, that is a threat to the entire justice system." LeBron was dismissed, his steps heavy as he left the stand. He didn't look at Diddy, didn't acknowledge the gallery, didn't smile. This wasn't a game, this was a reckoning. The trial didn't survive the week. By Friday, the jury was in disarray. Maya Ellison had cracked. Javier Ruiz was pacing like a caged animal, and Carlin Nguyen was barely holding it together. The prosecution's final motion was a nuclear strike, a request for jury dismissal and a retrial. It meant starting over. New jurors, new testimony, months of work erased. Rothstein's team fought back, calling it a celebrity sideshow, but their words rang hollow. The judge's ruling was devastating. Due to compromised jury integrity, this trial is suspended pending a full evidentiary hearing into external influence. The jury was disbanded, sent home under federal escort with orders to avoid all media. The courtroom, once a stage for Diddy's fate, was now a graveyard for trust. LeBron's legal team issued a statement denying any wrongdoing, but the damage was done. A federal inquiry was opened, not into Diddy, but into LeBron, with potential charges of jury tampering or obstruction of justice looming. Outside, the world was a storm. Protesters lined Spring Street, some holding signs reading "No one's above the law," others chanting "Free Diddy, free LeBron." Social media was a battlefield, with the LeBron Gate trending alongside memes of LeBron in a courtroom sketch, captioned, "The King versus the Court." News anchors debated endlessly. Was LeBron a scapegoat, targeted to distract from a shaky prosecution? Or had he crossed a line using his influence to protect a friend? The NBA, usually quick to defend its stars, issued a curt statement. "We are aware of the situation and gathering information. No support, no denial, just silence." Diddy, for his part, was a ghost. He stayed in the courtroom long after the final gavel, staring at the empty jury box. His legal team urged him to leave. He didn't. The man who once commanded stages now looked like he was bracing for a fall. The evidentiary hearing into LeBron's actions was held behind closed doors, but leaks painted a grim picture. Maya Ellison's full testimony revealed she'd felt overwhelmed by LeBron's presence, not just in the cafeteria, but in the trial itself. "He didn't threaten me," she said, "but he didn't have to. When LeBron James talks, you listen." Javier Ruiz, under pressure, admitted to brief conversations with a man he wouldn't name, saying only, "I didn't think it mattered if I didn't tell the others." The burner phone was the final nail. Though LeBron denied knowledge of it, the purchase by his driver Derek Holmes was undeniable. A text from LeBron's assistant sent during deliberations was presented in chambers. "They're leaning not guilty. Keep the energy on them. LeBron's got it." It wasn't a smoking gun, but it was close enough to burn. Judge Halverson's final order was a legal earthquake. He didn't just suspend the trial, he declared it compromised by extrajudicial influence, a phrase that will echo in law schools for decades. The courtroom was cleared, its benches left empty, a sign placed where LeBron once sat. This seat must remain empty during federal proceedings. It was a quiet memorial to a moment that changed everything. Diddy's fate remains in limbo, his trial likely headed for a retrial with a new jury, a new judge, a new chance. But LeBron's legacy, once untouchable, is now a question mark. The inquiry into his actions could lead to charges, though legal experts say prosecution will be tough without direct evidence of intent. Still, the damage is done. The man who built an empire on discipline and leadership is now the face of a scandal that asks, can justice survive when celebrity walks through the door? The fallout is still unfolding. In Los Angeles, the courthouse is a ghost town. Its steps empty except for the occasional protester. The media has moved on to new headlines, but the questions linger. If LeBron could sway a jury, intentionally or not, what happens in places where no one's watching? Boardrooms, backrooms, the quiet corners where power whispers? The trial wasn't just about Diddy or LeBron. It was about a system buckling under the weight of fame.